Hey everyone, welcome to the 10th episode of the Wildgame Anglers podcast. I'm your host, Henry Vine, and today we have an incredible guest joining us, a true trailblazer in the outdoor community. She's an educator, an advocate, and a passionate ambassador for conservation and ethical angling and hunting. You've probably seen her inspiring work on Lisa Roper Outdoors, airing on the World Fishing Network and Sportsman Channel Canada, where she shares her expertise and love for the outdoors with fellow enthusiasts. Lisa is committed to making the outdoor world more accessible and inclusive, especially for women looking to step into the fishing for the first time. Through events like Ladies on Ice, her presence at boat and sportsman shows, and her tireless advocacy for Canada's natural habitats, Lisa is paving the way for future generations to experience and cherish the beauty of the wild. I first had the pleasure of connecting with Lisa as fellow brand ambassadors for Len Thompson Lures, where she made history as the first female ambassador in 90 years. Her journey, her wisdom, and her unwavering dedication to the outdoor lifestyle are truly inspiring. So, without further ado, let's welcome Lisa Roper to the Wild Game Anglers podcast.
Wow. I mean, holy man, what an introduction. I'm kind of blushing and those are a lot of really nice things to say, Henry. And honestly, thank you for having me. I think it's so important being people that are in the outdoors that we help lift each other up. And I'm glad to be a part of your adventure. And thanks for including me and just bringing me along. This is awesome.
Well, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show, and thank you very much for taking the time to participate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you had a good ice fishing season this year?
Yeah, it was a really good season. Got into some big fish through the ice, which is always exciting. And I got to film a couple really cool episodes. Did some lake trout fishing on Cold Lake, which was great. And we got into some really nice lake trout.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, the Ladies on Ice event and,
Yeah.
just bringing up some great walleye. And yeah, good season. Good. And it's always great to come off a good ice fishing season and have that enthusiasm to get into open water.
Yeah. So, the beginning of your journey, do you remember the moment when you fell in love with the outdoors?
I don't think that there's like a moment, but when I go back and really dig into, thinking about my childhood, I was really fortunate in the sense of like we were always pushed outside, like go outside, go outside, go outside. And so whether, I was playing with, we had our animals were all outside, so dogs and cats and, horses and cows and all the good stuff. And so I loved doing that. But as far as like the fishing moments, I remember ice fishing. So there was this lake near home called Sharon Lake, and we caught massive amounts, like crazy. You can even think of it this like right now in a lake that I could find catching perch.
Okay.
And so I remember not only catching these jumbo perch and all the excitement that went with it, but it was always going back to my Baba's, which is like my grandma's house, and cleaning fish, the energy, the excitement of all the neighbors coming and having a big fish fry. And I remember just being, I mean, I'm right there, like
Yeah.
I'm little, I'm 4 or 5 years old, and I just remember that excitement and energy that I loved. And from there, I think going open water was the first time I caught a fish on it was a river. My dad took us to this river and we were fishing from the bridge and I caught my first fish. And yeah, those are kind of my staple moments of
Oh, yeah.
this is awesome.
Well, that's really cool because it motivates me in a way because I just brought my daughter out 2 weekends ago for a creek chub,
Yeah,
little creek chub. So we dug our own little worms, and so
amazing.
all these are all little memories that she's gonna probably retain to make her maybe passionate for the outdoors later on.
Absolutely. And the thing is that I don't think um necessarily from talking to a lot of different dads that dads feel that they're doing much or well she's bringing Barbies and so I don't even think she's interested. Men, dads, she's interested. Like
Yeah,
she's with you. That's the interest.
yeah,
She wants to be with you. Be it in your back pocket, be it beside you, you're digging worms, she's digging worms. All of that is going to build to something.
yeah,
And just remind yourself that you guys are doing that together.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
What were the biggest challenges early on when stepping into the outdoors industry, and how did you overcome them?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. Yeah, I would say that there was a lot of challenges. I mean, thankfully we have grown in the outdoor industry, and there is a lot of phenomenal people, a lot of phenomenal men in the industry that want to lift females up and want to see more female presence, whether it be uh, for their own purpose or whether it's because they want to just see more families coming into it. We also know that a lot of people believe that, it's the women and youth that are going to help continue to build our outdoor industry. But I would say that there's also the challenge of, kind of everyone talks about it, but the old boys club. And, there's unfortunately some people out there who don't believe women belong in this space, that, they won't build your confidence to be here. They don't pull up a chair for you. And so I would say is getting through that and
Okay.
not allowing that to register in my head that that's truth.
Okay.
And so one way that I do that, so I don't allow that to become real, is that I remind myself that if I want someone to pull up a chair for me, then I want to pull up a whole row for the future generations.
Yeah.
Or for that, like future generations doesn't just mean, the youth coming after us. It can also mean a 65, 70-year-old that's never fished before, and you pull up a chair for them too, to say it's a safe space, you're welcome here. Come be a part of this. It's okay to be a first.
Yeah.
And so yeah, those were some of the challenges, and it hasn't been easy. Like, has not been easy. It's been tough.
Yeah.
But with that also comes the respect and just feeling um I don't know, that yeah, that you belong here, and that through the hard work it reminds you that it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like now in 2025, do you still feel that maybe like you said, the boys club, the judgmental, or do you think now like not only for you but for women, the judgment must be less now
It
compared
is
to
less now, 100%. It's less now. Is it still there? Yep, absolutely. Will it ever? I mean, but having said that, it's not just in the outdoors. Like I want people to understand it's not just me saying this. I think in every industry,
yeah,
women, it's harder for us to become VPs or CFOs or whatever. We do have to work harder, and we know that. And but there is a beautiful, beautiful story that's unfolding where more and more partners, partnerships, sponsorships, men, the industry is showing up for us for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that when I first heard about you, because I'll be honest, I'm with Len Thompson since 2018, I believe.
Yep.
And like even West David, all like the western part of Canada. I'm in Quebec, and
Yep.
I maybe know some Ontario anglers, some Quebec anglers, but all the western side, I didn't know any. So I got to know you through Len Thompson and West David at the same time, and I've been following you guys. And even though you're a woman, I became immediately became like a fan right away. I
Oh,
learned a lot already from your episodes. Like even I remember when we had a chat once
yep.
through because you were in charge of the brand ambassadors at one point, and
Correct.
I
Yeah.
even asked you a question because I never jigged with spoons before, and I would use spoons, but I would only cast. And then I was like, how do you catch those big walleye with the spoons? And you
Yep.
told me like you drop it down and you would jig the spoon, and I'm like, how come I never thought of that? How come I never jigged the spoon? You know?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And it's just, I think I mean, that's awesome. And it's awesome that we had that, very organic conversation, and we got
yeah,
to just talk about it. And I think it's, we don't know what we don't know, and it's
yeah,
trying to be creative and think outside of the box of different ways to use a lure or, a situation, and just, yeah,
yeah,
doing it a little different.
yeah. Fishing and hunting adventures. What's the wildest fishing or hunting story you've experienced? Something that still makes you laugh or shake your head today.
Ooh, um, well, I'll give you a hunting story since we're
All
talking
right.
lots about fishing. But
Yeah.
so I was really, really scared of bears. Like, I mean, not just a fear, it was beyond that. Like, I was having nightmares. As a kid, it was awful. Like, the nightmares were like bears would, smash through the window in our house and come in and all this kind of crazy stuff. And
Okay.
so even though, but it was kind of a thing, because if I was out hunting, I wasn't scared, I wasn't worried. I don't know what that was, but if someone said suddenly, like, okay, you got to go hunt bears, I'd be like, oh, heck no, that is not happening. And So a few years back, I decided to take on a solo bear hunt with my bow.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, crazy. Like the start of that in doing all of it on my own, researching da da da, and when I'd go out to chain or add food to the barrels and stuff like that, I would bring my son and I'd be like, "You got to carry a gun." He was my bodyguard, like petrified of bears. And then the day that I go out, or one of the days I go out to hunt, and again, I have no gun, I have no backup hunter. It's just me, my bow, and these bears. And the first three bears walk in, and not long after they walked in, the first bear comes up the tree. Like
Oh,
I will never forget, he comes to the bottom of the tree, and I sat up, right, and I've got my bow, and I hang my bow up because I'm like, I'm not sure what's happening here, and I
yeah.
hear, I'm like, I will never forget that sound. And then he's got his nose on the grate where my feet are, and he's trying to push it up. And then he's trying to bring his one paw kind of over the way my tree stand was. My little heart was pounding so hard, and I grabbed my bear spray. That is one thing I brought, and I just gave him a little squirt, and
Okay.
back down he went. And I was like, okay, what just happened here? I was so scared, and yeah, tears and all of it. And then an hour later, the sow, without hesitation, it's like, and I know we know bears don't have good head or eyesight, but she looked up in that tree like she knew exactly where I was. She went to the back of my tree, and before I could even do anything, I was just spraying. She was right on my shoulder.
Oh,
And when you're petrified of them, and this is your first time out on your own, well, first time out ever, actually bear hunting, and then first time, of course, on my own, he questioned, like, what are you doing? What is this all about? Why is the universe making this happen for me? Now, of course, fast forward, yet, I was successful the next day. I got my bear with my bow and all the good stuff. But and I've killed some beautiful bears since. Last year was an epic bear of a lifetime at 386 pounds
wow.
roughly. But now I kind of look back and I do laugh about it. It's obviously bears are not scary, and there's a lot we need to learn about bear behavior and so on and so forth. So, you know, kind of I can't believe I was that scared. I can't believe I was really that uneducated about how bears behave and they're just curious. They
Oh
just
yeah.
want to know. And I've come a really long way to being able to be within, bear presence and, baiting on my own now and doing all of that good stuff. So that's always a good reminder of overcoming something and really kind of understanding the whole picture or, the situation you're in.
Yeah. But black bears, like you said, they're just curious. But at
Yeah.
the same time, having one coming up behind your shoulder, I think
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
little bit I'd be scared too, to be honest.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was scared, no doubt about it. And I don't know, if a bear came up right now on the tree, I wouldn't have the same panic. I would still and I don't even know if you would, yeah, you're probably a little bit scared, but I think it's just respect.
Yeah.
Right? There's a difference from being scared and then not making the right choices or doing whatever to just, I respect the bear. I
Yeah.
mean, one swipe, and I don't care if you meant to or not, one
Hmm.
swipe and your life changes. So
Yeah.
it's just respecting them and respecting their environment. And I'm the one in it, I'm the one visiting. So, it just changes how you see it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. So
Yeah.
you went bear hunting, you did deer hunting. I know you go for mule deer and white-tailed deer,
Yeah.
and
And I
you've
did
been getting some beautiful white-tailed deer.
thank you. Yeah. And I actually did elk hunt last year too with my
Oh
bow.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Nice. Yeah, did you get one or?
I did get one.
Yeah, I think I remember the picture. I'm like a little memory blank on it, but I think I
Yeah.
remember seeing that picture.
Yeah. Yeah, it was incredible. That was a hunt. I never I never expected to get an elk with my bow for the first time out, I mean, not setting myself up for failure, but there's a lot that goes into it, and elk are no, I mean, they're the ghosts. They're
Yeah.
it takes years and everything just aligned. And man, when that bull walked through after that cow and calf, I was just like, go, it's
Oh
go.
yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Did you have, how long did it take you? Like, because I know sometimes you got to trek a long time for elk.
Yeah, so this was my third day hunting, and I got the bull on my third day.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
good.
yeah, it was pretty epic.
Are you looking forward for moose?
I am. I'm actually considering, I think my draw, because most of it's draw here,
Okay.
is I will have priority this year to do one, and I want to try and do it with my bow. So
Oh
that's going to
yeah.
be an extreme challenge,
Yeah.
but I'm up for it. And so I really want to focus on that this year and see how that works out.
Oh, I'm sure if there's one in your sights with a bow, you got it. That's for sure.
Thank you. I love it.
I equipped myself with a crossbow.
Oh,
So
nice.
I practiced it. I went turkey hunting last weekend. Unfortunately, the toms, because we're only allowed to hunt the males, and they're called
Yeah.
toms or jakes. And I wanted the challenge of getting one with a crossbow this year.
Yes.
So, but they never came close enough. They were weary. They were staying with the females further away,
Yeah.
and only the hens came close. So maybe in the future. But I wanted to start with turkey, and then if my confidence was good enough, I'd go. I'm going either way. I'm going for whitetail deer this year with the crossbow.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing. Yeah. And I mean, that's it's just that. It's having the confidence, it's putting in the time,
yeah,
right? Knowing what your distance is, knowing what your shot is, knowing what
yeah.
you're capable of, and then executing.
Yeah. How far do you shoot with a bow and arrow? Your furthest
I'm
distance.
Yeah, so I'm very particular about that. I've never shot anything over 30 yards.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just my preference. I mean, and hands down to all of these amazing archers that, can shoot 70, 80, 90 yards. It's just
Yeah,
not my
that's a
thing.
lot.
Like my elk was 16 yards when I got my bull elk. And
Okay.
so, yeah, I'm more of a close range, feel comfortable. I'm definitely comfortable at 30 yards. I can shoot 40 and 50, but 30, I wouldn't shoot past that
Yeah.
at this point.
Well, you see, I'm practicing with a crossbow. My distance is a little further, and I'm practicing 150. I'm sorry, feet.
Mhm.
So that would be 50 yards.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
want to go further than 50 yards. And you see, at 20 yards, because turkey, I'm able to bring them in. So I practice 20 yards, and I was shooting bullseye all the time. So I'm like, okay,
Nice.
20 is okay. And then my first shot with 50 yards, and I was really surprised. My shot was way off. So
Oh, yeah.
okay, maybe I'm shaky too much, and so I really lean the crossbow and like I get into because they say a deer you have like a soccer ball,
Yeah.
like to shoot like for their organ size, where
Yeah.
you want to shoot, and like I'm shooting in there, but like my arrow's never on the bullseye. I never shot bullseye, so
Yeah.
50 yards would be my maximum. I don't want to
Yeah.
go further than that.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm not I wouldn't say it for me. How I feel about hunting is a soccer ball. I'm more like softball.
Oh yeah,
Softball is if I can get there, then I'm
yeah,
ready to go and I'm okay with that distance. Soccer ball to me is a little too big because there's too many, there's the opportunity of hitting a bone
you're
or,
right.
not getting the full organ you're looking for, and then, now you're searching for your deer and
Yeah.
so on. So yeah. But
Well,
it's whatever, it's what you're
yeah.
comfortable with.
Well, it's because I think it's just the way people around here they taught me, I mean, and like we always said, you got to shoot inside a soccer ball. So I think that's why my
Mhm.
brain registered it. But
Yeah,
I actually like softball. It's better because if you shoot inside a softball,
yeah,
then you know that the animal's going down.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. For sure.
Have you ever had a moment in nature where you thought, "Wow, I can't believe this is my life"?
You know what, Henry? Honestly, every day. Like every time I'm out, even when I'm catching small little perch that are in the palm of my hand, I feel so much gratitude and so much thanks for where I'm at. I love being in the outdoors. I love what I'm doing. Just the ability to be out there, hunting and fishing and sharing it with whoever wants to listen. I honestly, I feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world.
Yeah. You've done amazing work introducing women to fishing. How does it feel to see beginners catch their first fish?
Oh, that is a beautiful gift that someone gives you every time it happens. And honestly, if I didn't catch another fish, well, I mean, not really, but seeing other people catch fish is means more to me now than me catching the fish. And
Yeah.
taking them out and seeing that excitement. And sometimes, I mean, it's a lot of excitement. It's tears. I never thought I would accomplish this. I never thought I could do this. It is just an absolutely beautiful gift that people give that I get to receive.
Oh yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah.
If you had a quick outdoors ethics 101 lesson to
Mm.
someone new to fishing or hunting, what would be your top three golden rules?
Top three golden rules. Number one for fishing, I would say is catch and release. It's really important. I've seen too many things, especially ice fishing, where people will just leave the fish on the snow because they don't
Oh
have
yeah.
their gear and they walk way over and then come back. And by the time you've walked back, your fish is not alive. So, be ready, have your gear with you, have your pliers ready if you need spreaders because it's a pike, whatever. Just have your stuff ready and pull the fish out, take the hook out, release it as quickly as possible. That saying, try to keep fish wet,
Yeah.
I think is the best thing we can do for fish. And so learning that is really important. Again, for new, like brand new anglers, I would say know your species, right? Whether you're hunting or fishing, right? A lot of people, if you take time with a new hunter and talk to them, they really don't know the difference, say, between a whitetail and a muley.
Hmm.
So know your species, know the difference between a pike and a walleye and a sauger and whatever fishery you're on.
Yeah.
And then I would say for hunting, one golden rule is, and I kind of said it already, is know your limits, know what you're comfortable with. If you're practicing, like I said, in archery, if you're practicing a 30-yard shot and that's your bow, that's your what you're comfortable with and you know it, don't take a 90-yard shot. That's just to me, that's just unethical and it's not
Hmm.
right. You haven't practiced it, you don't know it, and that's when we wound animals and then, that's unfair.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say those are kind of my three rules.
Yeah, I completely agree with that long shot for sure because there's a hunter on the property beside mine who had an opportunity at a big buck last year and he did a long shot. It was outside his range, but I guess the nerves took over and he wanted it and you see he lost it.
Yeah.
So we don't know what happened to that deer, but it's really can't take those long shots. Got to take shoot where we what we know.
What 100%. And if you're putting in the time and that's where the hard work comes in and that's where the discipline comes in, put in the time. And if you're not willing to put in the time, then don't take the shot.
Yeah.
If you are and you know that shot and or you're really good at 250 and you can take and you're like, I know 300, I know what I need to do, but do the work
Yeah,
first before
for sure.
before you let, I don't know, the excitement of the hunt take over.
Yeah. What's something about hosting a fishing show that people don't realize?
How much work it is. It's a lot of work. And I know people don't mean it disrespectfully, but a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, must be nice, must be nice." But they don't understand what that means. The amount of work that goes into a show, the amount of how office heavy it is. Um, and yeah, it's amazing and I still wouldn't trade it. I love it, but it does you got to it's like anything, you got to put in the time
Yeah.
and to see the success and especially if you have goals of wanting to be quite successful and not just throwing something together, but making sure that it's pleasing to people and it's, high quality and those types of things.
Do you have a team? Like, do
I
you have a
have,
cameraman, right? And
yeah.
editors?
Yeah, so right now we've kind of expanded our team a little bit. So yes, I have a videographer, and then I also have kind of a full-time, I guess, editor too. And
Okay.
so um, just because it's hard for one videographer to be available, especially most videographers have full-time jobs outside of filming. And so, yeah, trying to find that balance. So I have a couple videographers and they do both video and editing.
Oh, that's
And
good.
then I have my daughter helps me with social media as well because it's hard to keep up with everything. And especially, when I'm gone for 8, 10 days at a time and I don't have a lot of service.
Yeah.
We pre-plan all the posts ahead of time and so she knows and then she can post them at least for me.
Yeah.
And she's amazing and it's so great to have family involved because, they get you and they get your vision and your passion and where you are.
Yeah. And it's good for your daughter too because the younger generation, like they tend to keep up with the trends.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's things I would not do. And then she's like, oh, no, 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 we got this.
oh yeah,
Type.
that's good. What's your dream location for filming an episode? Somewhere you haven't fished yet but would love to experience.
Oh, there's so many places. Really, there is. I mean, I'm going to stay in Canada because we have so many amazing fisheries here. So I would say Northwest Territories
Yeah.
would be a dream place. I just love last year I said Yukon when I was actually doing a podcast with Jess and Brad, and then I did get to go to the Yukon. So check mark.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and so Northwest Territories is huge. Just I don't know that whole mystery and just vastness of Northwest Territories. But I also would love to fish. I really haven't spent much time in British Columbia, so that would be amazing as well.
Oh yeah, that's good. It's all nice parts of the country.
Yeah,
Have
100%.
you have you ever been to Quebec?
No,
No?
no.
Uh,
So,
there's some nice fisheries here too,
is there?
if ever
Okay.
you're interested. But
Yeah,
I
do you
mean,
guys
I don't think we could beat British Columbia, and definitely not Northwest Territories. But that's not what I'm trying to say. But
but
maybe one of these days
you have a species that I'm looking for.
I
So
could guess.
I would
I,
love to fish for muskie. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ontario and Quebec, we're pretty strong on the muskie. I think in North America, the Ontario and Quebec are the strongest in North America for muskie population.
yeah, so I'll be there for that for
All
sure.
right.
That is like I do have a list of goals, and I do actually have like fisheries, because if you don't put it out there, put it down on paper, you may never, right? So, and same with species. And so muskies are on my list.
Oh
Just
yeah,
saying.
well, I think you might have a contact for someone who could put you on a muskie or two, just saying.
Just saying. We might have to do that. Yes, that would be amazing.
But I don't really catch those 50 inches yet. I'm still looking for a 50-inch muskie. I've been tr targeting muskie since 2018 and I got my two biggest are 45 and 44.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'd be
And
happy
every
with that.
year oh yeah, for sure I'm happy with that, but like I want to hold a 50, but I do not want to go through a guide. I'm too
Yeah.
proud. As I could book there's so many guide services, but they're like on the bigger lakes where I'm pretty sure I go with them and I'll catch a 50, but I won't be proud. So I'm just keep on putting the hard work and eventually I'm gonna land it. You'll see that Facebook post eventually pop by and
100%. And you know what? Like you can hear it in you. It will mean way more for you to do it for you.
yeah,
And that's a beautiful thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
As a female ambassador for multiple brands, what does that representation mean to you and how do you hope it impacts future generations?
Hmm. Well, yeah, it means so much to me. Whether it's a brand that's believing in me and bringing me on as the first female ever, or what have you, to have a company believe in you like that and bring you on is, I mean, it's humbling, it's beautiful, I don't take it lightly. It means a lot to me, and relationships in general mean a lot to me. So I'm not just here, that saying people say I'm not just here for the free t-shirt. Like I want to
Yeah,
be a part of whatever sponsorship family, for an example, like Glenn Thompson, it's not just about the lures, it's about them as people and their family and getting to know them on so many levels. And I hope by showing up with respect and gratitude and excitement that, again, it opens up more doors for more females and hopefully it shows other companies that, we're serious, we're here for all the right reasons, and we're trying to make a difference, and we care, and we can fish just as much as anybody else. And so, yeah, I would say it's just gratitude, feeling so grateful for those companies that took a chance on me, and I get to prove to them that I'm serious.
yeah, and they made a right choice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
If you could only use one lure for the rest of your life fishing, which one are you picking and why?
Well, it's so easy. The Len Thompson Gray Ghost is
Oh
my
yeah.
go-to. I love that lure. Every species I've ever caught, I've tried to catch with that lure, and the only one I haven't been successful with was smallmouth bass.
Oh
They
yeah.
don't like they didn't like the spoon. I could not get them on it. But I've caught my largest lake trout with that. I've caught massive pike, walleye, yeah, tiger trout. I caught a tiger trout with it.
That's
So yeah,
amazing.
it's an awesome lure as long as I could have different sizes of it.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
that is my go-to, and it is why it is my Lisa Roper Outdoors lure. I put it on the Gray Ghost because I really do love that lure.
Yeah, I remember you catching some nice fish with it. I
Yeah.
got a few gray ghosts, and I even believe I have one downstairs. That's the number four. So,
Yes.
well, no, Dimpled series. It's number
Thir
16. 13?
13 or 16, yeah.
Yeah, 16, the big one.
Yeah,
That's because I
16.
caught a muskie on the traffic light. That's one of my favorite.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
muskie love it.
Yep. Absolutely. That one and oh, what the heck's the other one? Traffic light and oh shoot. Oh, I'll think about it. I
Yeah,
just
I'm trying to think of a few also, but There's one with pink. Is it that one?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah. I have a memory blank now. That's
I
because
know,
we
me
want to
too.
say it.
I know, same. But yeah, I mean, just such great lures, and
Yeah,
I really do like the dimpled series. I mean, the
yeah,
original ones are great too. As you can see with my wall behind me, that's all Len Thompson lures, in case anyone's wondering. But yeah, I definitely like them. Pike love them. Lakers love them.
yeah. I'm yet to catch my first real lake trout. I caught one lake trout in my life, and it was through guiding service, and
Yeah.
it was a hard day because I wanted to learn on how to target them, and he ended up fishing with downriggers, and
Okay.
I'm not a downrigger type of guy, so I didn't know that was going to be our outing, and like I
Mhm.
don't like, oh, okay, we got to raise the downrigger, lower the downrigger. I like to jig.
Yeah.
So the lake trout we caught was a nice one, but I like the muskie. I don't take credit for it. So in my
Mhm.
mind, I never caught one yet. And I went actually a few times alone on certain lakes, and people have been giving me advice. I watch your advice, like going down with a spoon. I even use a white jig. I don't know why. I think those are my, your lure is gray ghost. Well,
Mhm.
the lake trout, they're ghosting me, you know? I'm having a lot of trouble with those fish until I figure them out.
Yeah, and I mean there's different ways depending on the time of year. I mean, sometimes trolling, like my biggest to date, my biggest lake trout, I was actually trolling with the gray ghost, and we were in, I don't know, roughly 80 feet of water with an 8 ounce weight on it
Okay.
to get it down, right? And yeah, I mean, but then there's other times where trolling has done nothing and we've gone straight to jigging and boom, there it
Oh
is.
yeah. When's the dates? Like, are you able to target lake trout now?
Uh, well, nothing in Alberta, northern Alberta, we don't have the lakes aren't open till May 15th.
Okay.
Um, so then after that, really you can target them at any point after that. There's just different seasons. Yeah, different seasons depending on where the wall or the lake trout are. So when ice first comes off, they're up higher in the water column,
Yeah.
more shallow. And then of course, as summer goes on, they go deeper. And then, late mid-September to end of September, they start coming up shallow again to spawn. And so last year when I was in Garrett's Broken Arrow Lodge on Cree Lake, we were there at the end of September and I was catching like 42, 43-inch lake trout in 7 to 12 feet of water. It
Oh
was
yeah.
incredible. Like, and
That's
the water
incredible.
there is so clear, so you could just see them and you're like, I want that one. And of course, some of them they're spawning or they're coming in to spawn. They're not interested in whatever you threw at them. But man, is that even I even said it out loud. I didn't even care if I caught a lake trout. To be able to see all of these lake trout swimming about and just experiencing that and just taking a moment of gratitude to be thankful to witness it, because how many people get to witness that? It
Yeah.
was such a gift, such a beautiful gift.
The water is clear. I noticed as I went to BC and also Alberta back in 2011, I believe it was, and that's the last time I went. It was the first time I went. I did a 2 week road trip over there, and
Yeah,
I noticed like the rivers, even the lakes, if the water's not blue in certain areas, it's crystal clear. Because
yeah,
on a previous podcast with someone else who lives in Edmonton, we were talking about the Edson River, and the water was clear, and I was able to see the pike just chilling. Like I was able to say, okay, I'm gonna throw out that one, and then you would see it come, like their behavior
yeah,
that we
yeah,
don't usually see. Usually we feel the strike, but now you see it coming, and wham, it takes the lure.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah, it's a
pretty
whole
cool.
different experience when you can actually see them.
Yeah.
And it
Uh,
really depends where you are in Alberta, because I mean, we have lakes, and depending again on the time of year where you don't see much. They're either tea stained or
yeah.
kind of the blue-green algae comes in or what have you. They can just be quite murky. But then there's others, like you said, that are just clear and you can see every pebble and rock and pike and fish and
Yeah. I'm yet to find a lake like that. I know like around here in Montreal they have like little canals there. Well, the old canals for the ships back in the days. And the water there for some reason and the canals are crystal clear. And I believe that's the only time where I could see the fish like the
Mm,
largemouth bass or the northern pike. But whenever I go up north, it's always tea-stained water.
yeah.
And some lakes are like really tea-stained at the point where the pike are actually yellow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting to say, does the water clarity have an effect on, the coloring of the fish, is the type of food because of the water clarity. It's the type of food that's in there that causes them. Like you look at the greenbacks on Lake Winnipeg, they say that
Yeah.
very clear that it's their feed that make them in the winter quite glowy. I don't
Yeah.
know what the word is, but
Yeah.
they definitely are a unique fish and one also on my list of fish to catch someday.
Oh yeah, the glowy pike.
Yeah, well the greenbacks, the walleye,
Okay, green.
those
Oh,
big,
greenback's walleye. Okay.
yeah, the big green, and they're just such a fluorescent looking color. Um, yeah, I would love to catch one of those through the ice one day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It'll happen.
I was told that deeper they live, the darker they are.
Oh,
But
interesting. Okay.
but I don't know. I didn't go on Google to confirm that. It's what the people like whenever I go, like, because some of my northern pike that I've been catching, like
Yeah.
they're in 20 feet of water and like they're almost black.
Yeah.
They're really dark, but they're also in like ultra tea stained water. Like I'll take a
Hmm.
glass and the water's like yellow
Interesting.
and they're
Yeah,
really
I
dark.
wonder yeah, I'm interested to know now. I'm gonna go do some research to
All
see
right.
if water depth or more, the food slash mineral in the water that causes different colors on
And
fish.
also the sunlight because the sunlight can't really reach that fish because you know when the sun goes in when the fish hit the sun. Okay, I'm saying this wrong. When the sun hits the fish, you really see like the fish really gets brighter.
Yeah,
And then when you put a fish in a live well, it gets like darker.
yeah,
So I think it has something to do like when it's living down most of its life in the 20 feet of water, comes up to eat, goes back down. I believe the fish has that darker pigmentation to it.
interesting. Yeah, definitely gonna check it out.
Have you ever had a this could go terribly wrong moment outdoors that ended up being hilarious besides the bears?
Uh, yeah. Well, it was kind of more of a situation, so I'm just gonna talk about the situation. So, unfortunately, my son has a kidney disease, and so he was we were in hospital this one situation. We were in hospital and for a couple days, and I got home at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on day I think it was day three, or we did, and went to bed, got up in the morning. I was at the computer doing some work, and I get a phone call from my videographer, and he's like, or sorry, a text from my videographer, and he said, "I'm halfway there," and I said, "Oh, where are you headed?" And he's like, "Lisa, Fort McMurray, we're leaving today." I said, "What?" Like I had lost track of time. We were filming. He flew into Fort McMurray. I was driving from Edmonton, Sherwood Park, so it's a 6.5 hour drive roughly. And I it was 9:30 in the morning, and I think the plane left at 4 o'clock or something like that. And I was like, "How am I going to do this?" Because I still have to go to Lac La Biche and pick up all my gear because I
Yeah.
hadn't picked it up yet. So we're not going to talk about how fast Lisa was driving because that would not be good. But I made it to Fort McMurray with 10 minutes to spare. And so I get to Fort McMurray Air, park my truck. I've got 10 minutes, only to find out the plane has been grounded due to a storm. So we get a hotel, and then the next morning we leave, we go fish, and we have the most incredible fishing week up at Cree Lake. But that was one that could have went really wrong because
Yeah.
you miss the plane. It's not like they can just send another plane out for you. So I would have
No.
missed the whole shoot and really would have messed that up, and that would not have been a good thing. So that,
Wow. Yeah,
yeah,
that ended up good.
yeah, that's
And on top of that, you got the rest for the night.
yeah, that's right. I needed it. I think I was in bed. Yep, I think we went for supper, and then I was like, "I'm out. Bye. I'm going to bed." And it was like maybe 7 o'clock, and I was sleeping, and then got up in the morning and headed back to the airport. But yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
What's the strangest thing you ever reeled in while fishing?
Well, okay, so we'll talk about this. So last summer, I took some clients out fishing, and unfortunately, it was a family, mom, dad, and three kids. And unfortunately, I had my back to the daughter and the dad at the back of the boat because I was dealing with the mom and the two sons at the front of the boat. And all of a sudden, I kind of heard like, "Oh my gosh," and whatever. And I turn around and only to see the rod go down. And I was like, oh no, like that's one of my really expensive rods. And down it went, and I could not retrieve it. I read away through actually a number four Len Thompson down, trying to see if I could snag it, jig
Yeah.
it, do all this. No, it was gone. So okay, came back, and then this winter, and I was fishing like okay, so if the area is like here, I was kind of over here, but my where I was ice fishing, my shack was a ways away from where this rod went down. So day one, I'm fishing, everything's great. I have the underwater camera. Day two, I kind of see something in the far background, and I thought, huh, definitely wasn't there yesterday, and it looked like a stick, like branch. Day three, I'm like, that's a fishing rod, and so it was moving, and so I phoned my daughter who was here as well, and I said, there is a fishing rod underneath my shack or on beside my shack. So we drilled, I think it took us 5 holes in about 40 minutes, and we ended up snagging the rod and reel up. At this point, I had no idea it was the one we lost in the summer. But
Okay.
when we brought it up, the jig was still on it and everything, and it still works.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
it's a quantum reel, and it still casts beautifully. It reels beautifully. So I would have to say that that was crazy because it wasn't close to where it dropped in the lake. So it just shows you like the underwater current, what it can
Yeah.
do. And like I said, day one, when I had the camera down, there was nothing showing. And then day two, day three, and then yeah, we got it out of the ice. So
That's
that's
like that's like almost impossible.
yeah, like a one in a bazillion. Like right? I mean, and what are the chances that I put the shack right there and it happened to yeah, I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Like I don't even know what the answer to this.
That's called adventure. This is called excitement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, when I was 14 years old, like a similar story is I went to Newfoundland. My aunt brought me to Newfoundland and Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. We did all that during the 2 month school break.
Yeah.
And my mom lent me her Shimano rod that she got from a gift from my father, and like I had to be careful. It was her rod. I didn't have my own rod yet. And one day we're out on the lake, and I caught a nice, a nice trout, a speckled trout. And I'm so excited with the fish that I forget that I'm on a canoe, and I take the rod and I just drop it beside me after
Oh, that's
unhooking, and I'm taking a picture of my fish, and we ended up keeping that fish. Next thing you know, I want to fish, can't find a rod. I dropped it in the water. I'm like, oh no, what I do in the lake? I was really disappointed. Had to tell my mom I lost her rod. And then eventually, maybe like 2 weeks later, we're swimming, and I end up going and like we're swimming in the lake, and my eyes are open, and I see it. I'm like,
yeah.
that's the rod. You get out of here. That's the rod, you know?
Oh,
So I swim, I dive down, you know, it's hard swimming down in water. People are
yeah.
panicking because I didn't pop up yet. I'm still underwater. I come back out of the water and I'm there with the rod. I'm like, I found the rod 2 weeks
That's
later.
epic. Look at your determination.
Yeah.
That's
I was,
amazing.
and then maybe a week after that, I was walking in the woods with it and I broke it. So that's what I did. Yeah.
That rod was meant to not, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was meant. I was walking tip first in the woods, and no, I didn't split it in half. It's a two piece, and
Yeah.
I ended up one
Snip.
piece. Bang! I hit it in a tree, and it cracked in half. I was
Yeah.
like, "Come on!"
Yeah. Absolutely. But you know you're having fun and you know your passion is just streaming through when those types of things happen.
Yeah.
And I also remember this time I was fishing with my daughter on the boat, and we were just in such a great mood. We were catching fish, nothing huge, but just fish after fish after fish. And then she caught this one fish and she was just over the moon. So I came over to help her. I took the hook out and I threw my pliers, only to
Oh,
realize the fish was still in my hand. Like I so kind of the same thing.
I did that too, to be honest, with the pliers. I
Yeah.
already dropped my pliers in the water, and it was
Yeah.
like, but I don't think I wanted to release the pliers. I think I just wanted to drop them because we fish often in canoes, and
Yeah.
I think I don't realize the space. I'm excited because no matter the size of the fish, I feel like a child inside.
Oh, totally.
I did the same thing, dropped the pliers, and then my buddy's like, "You just dropped the pliers in the water," and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
no more
So you know
pliers."
how I have stopped that from happening is now I tether strap my pliers, my this, my whatever, they're tethered to me, especially ice fishing.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I bought some of those things where they were like the elastic out, so
Yeah,
that's probably what it is, the tether strap.
tether strap. Yeah.
But I didn't use them yet. It was more for
Yeah.
my kayak.
Yeah. They work great, let me tell you. And even ice fishing when you don't mean to like you're at one hole and you know let the fish go and then you put your pliers down because you're just busy getting resetting up say a tip up or your rod or whatever and then boom another tip up goes and you've left your pliers at that hole. Now they're
Yeah,
just tethered to me and I don't have to think about it or worry about it. So,
really good idea.
yeah. So why don't you tell us about your 44-inch muskie?
Sure, I could talk about that. I actually have a video on YouTube of that one,
Okay.
but I could tell exactly where we were talking about pliers. Well,
Yeah.
this is what happened. I left the pliers in the tent, in the ice hut, in the ice shanty.
Oh
And
no.
I told my buddy because it was an experiment, an experiment. If that flag goes up, if you don't mind, I wanna hook set the fish because you know me, it's my 50-inch goal.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just looking out, the day was quiet. We only caught like one pike and one flag came up and no fish. It was really a quiet day. And then I just happened to look, but I'm looking like every 10 minutes, the flag is up. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the tip up of my mackerel. So I tell my buddy, let's go. But I forget all the gear in the shanty and I'm running and I feel the weight on the fish. So I hook set, I start reeling them in and I feel the weight. So I'm telling my buddy, I'm like, I think this is it. This is a big one. This is a big one. And so I finally get his head out of the hole. And then I realize that the two tripods that's holding the mackerel, the treble hooks that are holding, they're really deep into the fish. And my long nose pliers are pretty long. I'm looking for them. I don't got them. And
Oh
it's like
no.
-20 outside. I can't keep that fish out of the water. So I'm like, Sonny, run. The shanty's pretty far. I'm like, run. We need those pliers. So he's running to go get the pliers. I put the fish back in the water, holding his head. I know they're not supposed to stay upright, but I'm
Yeah.
holding his head in the cold water, my hands in there. Finally, he arrives. We get the treble hooks out, take the picture, release the fish as quickly as possible because I'm really quick on my releases. Even
Yeah.
if it's a trophy fish, if you look at my videos, the release is fast, and I people don't understand that with me.
Mm.
Like I catch the fish and I'm already in a hurry to put them back in the water.
Yeah.
And like some people just want to hold, or even like telling me, Change another pose. Okay, hold it another way." And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. The fish has got to go back.
Yeah.
And they look at me and they're like, okay.
No,
Yeah,
but
but
that's awesome. I mean, that's the way it should be and if more people should take that into account when they're fishing, for
yeah,
sure.
especially muskie. I noticed that, northern pike, I find they're actually tough fish.
Hmm.
You release them, you hold them a little too long out of the water, they're gonna take off. And muskie, I don't know. They're the king of the water around here, but I believe they're one of the most fragile fish because when they fight, they give off. I actually read this. I don't know
Hmm.
if it's adrenaline, but they fight till they're finished.
Wow.
So like, let's say it's a short fight, but they're giving everything. And that's why they say when you catch a muskie, you want to reel him in as fast as possible because if the fight is too long, the release is just gonna go bad.
Oh, geez, hey. I
Because
didn't know that.
they get rid of their like adrenaline. And then so if you're there and you're holding them out of the picture for a picture for too long and then you put them back in the water, they're not going to kick off.
Hmm.
And I already stayed with a muskie for 40 minutes holding its tail and then until I saw it swim off and I know it was good. I'm
Yeah.
not going to fish. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let that fish float out. Even last fall I caught a 40-inch one and it slipped out of my hands on the release. And the fight wasn't even that long. I think it was like a 2-minute fight.
Hmm.
And I release it and know how sometimes they just slip and
Yeah.
bloop, the fish went out. I'm like, oh no. And then I'm like, okay, I think the fish is fine. I don't see it anymore. And I'm talking to the GoPro talking about like what I use, how I caught the fish. And then I turn around saying, I think the fish is fine, even though it was a quick release. And I see it. It's floating on the surface, but upright. At least it's upright,
Oh,
but it's floating.
yeah.
Before it goes into too deep of water, I had my waders on. I decided to wade into the water and I managed to grab it. No, actually, not true. I went into the water, almost reached a muskie, and then it got nervous and swam off.
Yeah.
But I went into the water to go and revive it.
That's
I
amazing.
I don't want any muskie to die.
That's awesome, Henry. And just beautiful that you have that much compassion and you just care that much for the fish. I'm very much the same way that the fish first. I'll deal with me later, whatever that means. But like taking care of the fish and returning it as quickly as you can and making sure, like you say, that you know they're going to take off and ice fishing I think is one of the most important ones where people don't realize what the elements do to a fish when you're
Yeah.
ice fishing. They don't have eyelids, so they put that protective coating on their eyes, that but try and get them back as quickly as possible. Get them out of the wind, do whatever you can. Don't fish on super windy, cold days or have a tent if you're going to do that, because those are all things that can affect the success or the health of returning that fish.
Yeah. And like you're saying, especially a day that's minus 20,
Yeah,
like or colder, the fins, they're so thin
yeah,
that they freeze up. And if that freezes up, it's finished. That fish
yeah.
is gonna lose part of its tail. And we see it on Facebook groups where people are holding, they caught a nice fish, but you look at the eye and you see the eye is frozen.
Mm-hmm.
They're holding the fish too long, but I understand people are excited. Too many people do it. This is a this is a question that just came out of the blue, but it's also
Hmm.
an opinion that I have.
Okay.
Like for hunting, we have a hunting course that we have to follow.
Yeah.
Do you think there should be a fishing course?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I do. Because I think it's important, and I mean, I think Alberta, they are working on that and they are working on some form of that. And I think it's important because even just from fish species to proper handling, or why you only use one treble or two trebles and what that can do to a fish, to yeah, all kinds of reasons. And I think,
Yeah,
exactly, we have a hunting course, why not a fishing course? I
yeah,
mean, we have a boat license course, right? I
yeah,
mean, yeah, but it's I don't know, it's funny because some people don't see a fish like it's an animal. They don't think
yeah,
of it. I've seen people like throw fish back in the water,
yeah,
release them. Do you want to do it? Do you want me to throw you and do a belly flop and see how that feels?
yeah,
And but people don't always relate that to a fish.
yeah. I agree. And I believe, you know how people think fish aren't intelligent?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're quite intelligent.
Yeah,
Like especially a muskie, how it's gonna stay there, study the bait. If
yeah.
something's off, it's gonna go away. And another thing is, the other day I went fishing for catfish, and I
Mm.
did a video on that also. And the catfish never showed up. The water temperature was still way too cold, but the red horse showed up. A red horse is
Oh,
like looks
nice.
like a sucker,
Yeah.
but they showed up. I believe they were in their spawning time. The bite was crazy. But the friend who invited me, we had pizza at his place after, and he had some aquariums, and one of his aquariums was a crayfish,
Oh,
a
yeah.
blue crayfish, and like I never realized this. We think it's just a crayfish. Whenever he goes in front of the aquarium and he holds the bag of treats, that crayfish goes right onto the window of the aquarium and it's shaking its paws and it gets excited.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a learned behavior. Absolutely.
But I mean, a crayfish, I can see my dog doing that. But now we're talking about a crayfish, a marine. That I learned something. I couldn't believe that even a little crayfish has enough intelligence. And he even says that whenever his girlfriend walks by, the crayfish wants her attention, tries to get her attention.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, even the big aquariums like in Bass Pro Shops, um, you know, they when the lid gets lifted or they see the shadow of the person standing up on the top and they go to throw they know they're already coming up. They know what's going to happen. So it is a
Yeah,
learned behavior, and I think I agree with you that fish are intelligent, and same thing, we've seen it. One thing I do love about an underwater camera, some people don't agree with them, but for ice fishing, I love it because I get to learn so much about fish and their behavior and how they react. And yeah, just that, watching a pike come in, you got your lure and it's like a standoff and he's
yeah.
just like not sure. And then he
Well, there's
spins
something
out.
wrong, the
And
lure's
then,
there.
yeah, and then he peels out and then he peels in and it's interesting to watch them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know how you mentioned that some people agree with them, some people don't.
Yeah.
Underwater cameras, to be honest with you, I find that really cool.
Hmm.
And maybe it does give us a little bit of help because like okay, we're like ice fishing, we see the fish coming, we see their behavior. I find that's pretty cool. I don't have anything against underwater cameras. But in my opinion, I have trouble accepting the live scope.
Hmm.
And I have a good buddy of mine who uses the life scope, and if he's gonna listen to this podcast, and like I don't want him to be mad at me, but I find the life scope is cheating. That's
Okay.
my opinion. Maybe other
Yep.
people, but I also find it's bad for the fishing industry because now we have people using live scope and also it takes money. I find it's a lot of money to own a live scope. And then it takes away a lot of the knowledge, a lot of like, let's say what I worked for, how I find fish. Like I barely use a sonar.
Hmm.
I have a cheap sonar just to see the water depth and
Yep.
maybe where there's some holes in the lakes. And then I don't even know if there's a fish because I turned off those fish icons because I don't believe in them.
Hmm.
And I'm only going to study the bottom of the river or the lake and fish, catch a fish, and I still feel proud. I
Yep.
find there's no pride in scrolling around with your boat. Oh, there we go. There's some walleye down here. You could even see, oh, that's a sturgeon. We're not looking for sturgeon. Oh, that's a muskie. Let's go get him. He looks like he's 50 inches. And then we got people now. The muskie is supposed to be a fish of 10,000 casts. But now you got guides going out there catching nine a day,
Yeah.
nine muskie a day. And like we mentioned, muskie are fragile. So I don't know what's your opinion on the life scope or,
Well, I mean, it's a loaded question. It really
yeah,
is because, and the minute you start talking, there's the live scope. Well, what's the difference between that and underwater camera? What's the difference between that and a trail camera for hunting? And so it is such a big, I mean, that in itself could be a whole podcast.
yeah,
I don't own a live scope. Not to say at times I don't want one because I do.
yeah,
I think it would be awesome to be able to, you know, we are competitive by nature. I'm competitive to like within myself. And I want to catch the next big fish like anybody else does. I mean, it's not my number one goal. I mean, fishing is my number one goal, catching a big fish. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, why are we here? We want to upgrade. We want to catch that next one. Um, Sometimes where I struggle with it is tournaments, right? Because there's so much
yeah,
money on the line and it's such a tool that really if you don't have a live scope, you are, in my opinion, pretty much out of the running
yeah,
for any tournaments. And I mean, I'm not bringing up anything that hasn't already been talked about. I mean, especially in the States, they're looking at banning live scopes at tournaments, and I think I did read there's two states that have already banned them or giving it a trial to ban them or something. Um, so yeah, I don't own one, so I can't really weigh in the sense of, had I maybe used one for 3 or 4 months and then I kind of know how I feel about it. When I do talk to my friends and I say I just never want to lose that intuition that I have because I
yeah,
rely on it a lot and I can't explain it always, but I'll be like, I need to go over here, I need to do this, I need to do that. And that's intuition. That's just listening to yourself, your knowledge, what you know, the way all of a sudden you felt the wind, the way the water changed
yeah,
direction, whatever. And I don't want to rely on an electronic so much that I forget about all of that stuff.
yeah,
Right? And you're almost staring at the screen and not looking up to be, whoa, look at
yeah,
that flock of birds. Why are they there? Let's go check it out. And then
exactly.
find a
Yeah,
whole new hump in the lake you never even knew about before, and now you're fishing it.
yeah,
So so yeah, I don't fully have an opinion yet, except yeah, tournaments are tough with it, and
yeah,
yeah, there are times I would love to fish with it just to see, but I kind of like my old school fishing at times too.
yeah. Well, that's it. I'm still stuck on old school fishing.
Yeah.
I don't even have a boat. I have a Zodiac where I
Yep.
go like into little creeks, little rivers. I really like getting lost in little rivers, and I find I have peace of mind because no one's targeting them. And
Yep.
that's where I'm catching some nice fish too. And like my kayak to go there, canoe with my buddies.
Yep.
But it's rare I'm in a boat.
Yeah.
But
That's
eventually, as I get older, I'm probably gonna want a boat also. But
Well, and as your kids get older too, like then
yeah,
there is that comfort of a bigger boat, a more solid boat than necessarily other things, but that's okay. And if you never do, that's okay too. I mean, you do what you love and love what you do.
yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, you were talking about your, one day catching your 50-inch muskie. So
Yeah,
I'll talk about last fall, I got to land my just over 50-inch pike.
that's
And
incredible.
I could not, I actually forgot, which quite often when I'm filming, I do forget the camera's there because I am so where I'm supposed to be. And I did kind of forget he was there. And I mean, the tears just came. It's like you say, it's something you've dreamt of your whole life. Every time a flag goes up, you're like, is that him? Is this going to be the day?
Yeah.
Especially if you're on lakes that you know have that potential to land a 50. And we were fishing for lake trout, and we came across this point. So we were on the east side of the point, and it was super windy, like stupid, stupid. We were getting boxed around. And so we went around the point, and it was obviously calm and better. And we went through this one weed flat, and the depth changed and stuff. And I said, I don't know. I think we should go just off of the weed flat, just on the slide, like the yeah. And so we went from 7 feet to about 16 feet. And I put on a Bondi bait because I wanted it to literally hit bottom. I just
Okay.
had a feeling something was down there. And we did a couple passes, and man, when that fish hit, it was like nothing I had ever experienced. And he peeled line and peeled line and peeled like 40, 50 yards of line. And I was like, what is this thing? And then we get him to the boat and realize it's this massive pike, and brought him up. And what a beautiful, absolute beautiful moment. And just, oh, so unbelievable. Like, just can't believe I still can't believe it actually happened. And
That
then
might be a
it,
one in a lifetime moment.
100%, 100%. And then, releasing him, the beauty of that. And it took some time. I mean, you take those kind of runs, and that wasn't his only run. He was exhausted.
Oh yeah.
And so we just took the time and just let him go. And then we stayed in the area for another hour because I wanted to make sure like there was no chance of him popping up anywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, it that's a highlight. That will always be a highlight, and a fish of a lifetime.
Oh
Fish of
yeah,
a
for
lifetime.
sure. A pike over 50,
Yeah.
50.5, you said?
Just over
That
50, like just
that's
his tail
a
passed.
that's incredible. That must be an old pike, over 20
Oh,
years.
I would say so. And he had some battle wounds, and
Oh yeah.
his head was so big.
Yeah.
But he was obviously at that size, but he was big all the way through. I mean, I couldn't even put my hand, I couldn't close at his tail, right? The girth of his tail. And oh, his fins were like size of my hand. I mean, it was just an epic, epic
That,
fish.
that's incredible.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
biggest pike is I think it's 38 inches and
Yep.
it peeled. I actually
Yeah.
got that one too. All my biggest fish so far were in 2023. I had a good year. That's when I
Nice.
caught two back-to-back pike. And at 38 inches, they fight. So I can't
Yeah.
imagine a 50.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I knew I had a big one and it was peeling drag also.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was with my buddy Sonny again. I'm like, Sonny, this is a big pike. I think it's gonna be my PB, and it was my PB. It must have been
Nice.
around maybe 16, maybe 15 or 16 pounds.
Yeah.
It's a
Congratulations.
beatable pike for sure, but I mean, for now, that's my record.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's amazing, right? We all have
yeah,
our own records and our own, and I think that is such a message to yell out to the outdoors is it's your journey,
yeah,
right? Your best is 38 at whatever weight, and you're excited, stay there. Don't
yeah,
allow someone else's blah blah. Well,
yeah.
I that's nothing. I caught a whatever. Oh, please.
And a
No,
lot of those people
like
don't
I'm
have any
excited.
proof.
Yeah. Well, and even if they do or they don't, like I'm
Yeah.
not stuck on that. Like that's fine. Just
Hmm.
all I'm saying is if people could just be happy for you
Yeah.
and leave it there, right? Okay, so we'll play this out. I caught a 50. So I could be like, really a 38? Oh, stop. Like that's amazing. And sure, I caught this 50, but it's a fish of a lifetime. I'll probably never do it again. I'm excited for me, and I'm going to continue to be excited for me. I've had people be like, "Oh, let me see the measurement." Just go watch the show on TV. Like you'll see it all.
Oh yeah, that's
But
it.
I'm not putting it on social media just because people are like, "I don't believe you. I don't see a measuring." Uh, Okay, you do you, pal. Like,
Yeah.
or you could just be happy. Just be happy.
Yeah, that could be hard to do for some people. But
Yeah, it is. But
yeah.
that's a message that I try to get out there in the outdoors as well, is be happy for your fellow outdoorsmen.
Yeah.
And outdoorsman means interchangeable, women, men, it doesn't matter to me, right? Outdoorsmen. Just be happy for them,
Yeah.
right? Lift them up too and just be like, man, that's awesome. Congratulations. I hope one day you get even a bigger one. Like, And
Yeah.
so do I. I hope I get a bigger one day. Of course, I'm not going to just stay, yeah, I got my 50. That's it. I'm done. Oh, I'll raise the bar. Like,
Yeah.
will I ever get it? I don't know. But if I don't dream about it, if I don't think about it, then there's no option for me to get it.
Yeah. Well, you know me, my first muskie, it was summer of 2017. That's before I joined Len Thompson as a brand ambassador.
Yeah.
That summer there, I told my wife, well, she wasn't my wife back then, but I told her, I says, look, I want a muskie. I'm always catching pike, walleye, bass. It's always the same three fish. And I'm new, and all I do is I read reviews or I watch videos on YouTube. And there's one guy at my job who made me a streamer for fly fishing for muskie. And I always had it in my pack sack on the side. But anyways, I'm scrolling different rivers. I'm wading through water and I'm not getting a bite. And I tell you, I'm putting in the hours. So that 10,000 cast was true for me that summer. We're finally the month of September, and I put on my work colleague streamer I had to put a few pinch weights on the line to be able to cast it. And it's moving good in the water. And I finally got a strike, and it was a muskie, 16 inches long. My first muskie of my life. It's green, it's a baby, but I am so happy. You can't
Absolutely.
believe the joy I got. And I'm like, I don't care if it's a tiny muskie. It's the smallest muskie of my life. And I'm holding it in front of the camera. I have the biggest joy in the world.
Yeah,
You know, my cheeks, so happy. So you're right, the size of the fish, there was a goal. I wanted my first muskie.
absolutely. And but you also had gratitude. You're
Yeah,
filled with gratitude and not expectation. And when you come from a place of gratitude and you come from a place of um accomplishing your goal, catching a muskie, didn't matter
yeah,
what size, right? And you remind yourself of why you were there, I think is just also a gift that A, you're giving yourself, but to the people around you. And
yeah,
so, these people who are like, oh, they might have looked at it and said, oh, 16 inches and literally tossed it back.
yeah,
Where's the thanks in that? Where's the, I don't know, the adventure and why are you really fishing?
yeah, yeah. Fishing is a therapy.
Oh, 100%.
When I didn't have kids, now I have kids, so I have to come home after work and I would finish later. Now I finish a little earlier, but I would go fishing just about every evening. I would tell my wife, okay, I'm gonna go do like a little 2 hours almost every evening, and I'd catch fish. I'd come home, even though I had a bad day at work. The
Yep.
first thing I'd like, hey, look at the fish I caught. I'd show her my bass, I'd show her my walleye, and she's looking at the pictures. She's happy, and I forget my day, and then
Yeah.
I'm in a good mood all evening. Even if a fish don't bite, it removes the stress of the day.
Absolutely, it does. And when you can do that, I mean, holy man, you're doing so much for your, mental and emotional health.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of us do go in the outdoors, why we do hunt and fish, is a lot of that reason. We
yeah,
can let go of a lot of the pressures and the stresses and the things that are bogging us down. And for me, like when I'm out fishing, um, it's my brain doesn't really ever shut off. Like I'm always thinking, always. And so when I'm out there fishing or bow hunting, those are times when everything just gets quiet. And I have come to crave that quietness.
mm-hmm,
And even if I have a big fish on, it's still I'm still in the moment. I'm fishing, I'm doing what I love, I'm filling my cup. I'm not stressed and my nervous system is not firing in ways it shouldn't be firing. So yeah, it's beautiful.
yeah. Especially when a fish strikes. I think that is the real moment where we forget everything
Oh,
exists. You know,
100%.
we're just like, what is this at the end of my line, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Or you're out hunting and you can't even hear it. You can't see it yet, but you hear a
Oh
crack,
yeah. Oh
right?
yeah.
Or how many squirrels make us go
Yeah.
crazy? But I mean, that moment you're just waiting and you're like, what is it? What is it? Where is he? And to even have an opportunity, whether you take a shot or not, to have an opportunity to see it is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, I'd love to give you the floor if there's anything you'd like to share with our audience, whether it's advice or a message of encouragement or where they can follow your journey. Now's the perfect time.
Yeah, so maybe a message I'd like to give people is have fun. Have fun with it. And it goes back to what I said earlier. It is your journey. And so if you can really try not to compare yourself to the guy beside you or the girl beside you or, social media sometimes can be bad for that because we're like, oh, he or she is catching so many big fish, da da da. Just focus back to you. What is your goals? What is your journey? This is about you. Go have fun with it. If you're not having fun or you find yourself being stressed out there, you have to go back to the reason you started fishing and or hunting or whatever it is, being in the outdoors. And that's, to have fun, to allow yourself mentally and emotionally to let go of a lot of stuff. So that's my advice is just go enjoy it. Let it be your journey, have fun, and catch the next fish.
Yeah,
And then as far as following me, pretty much everywhere, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Threads, all of the stuff. My website is Lisa Roper Outdoors.
and go check out the website because I was impressed. I never went on your website before, but
Yeah.
before having you on the podcast, I'm like, okay, I need to know what to ask her and all that stuff. So I opened your website and I couldn't believe it. To be honest, people have to check out your website.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that I hunt or that that's, really important to me, but because everyone knows me more for my fishing. But I mean, I'm a pretty hardcore hunter and I put a lot of time in and I love the journey of the hunt. I'm not I spend days and days and days out there walking, thinking, yeah. And so it's beautiful and it's so fun and I enjoy it. So yeah, for those who don't know that I hunt, I do.
And also, I don't want to get a deer or I don't want to succeed on the first day.
Yeah,
I want to spend a bit of time in the nature before.
yeah. Enjoy those moments
Yeah,
and really get to just lose yourself, lose yourself in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa, thank you again for joining me on the Wild Game Anglers podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been fun. It's been fun catching up, and I really do. I hope one day that you and I can go do some fishing together and maybe
Yeah,
get on one of those muskies.
yeah. Well, if ever you come down to Montreal, you have anything planned, even
Okay.
if you're turning a show, and let's say you have a plan with a guide for a
Yeah.
fishing show, if you want to catch those smaller river muskies before landing the big 50, I'll try my best. I have a few spots where I'll be more than happy to try to make you catch one.
Yeah, absolutely. Any
'Cause-
size would be great. I've never caught one, so I'm like you. It's just a goal to say I caught a muskie and,
yeah,
just enjoy the journey.
yeah, sounds
Awesome.
good.
All right. Well, have a fantastic rest of your day, and thanks again for having me.
Well, thank you very much. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow Lisa and check out Lisa Roper Outdoors for even more incredible content. I will be putting the links to her social media accounts and webpage in the description. Until next time, tight lines and stay safe.
Yeah.